Heaven is not silent. Even now, something sacred stirs beyond what the eye can see. The chosen one is called, not by chance, not by human tongues, but by the voice of the Most High. And when the Creator of all things speaks your name, it is no small thing. It is a declaration across eternity, a signal to angels, a shift in the unseen. You may not have realized it, but your name has just been spoken in the heavens. Not the name the world used to wound you, not the one they overlooked or misunderstood, but the name written in light, etched into the very heart of the divine. A name the angels have carried in reverence, a name heaven remembers. Fear not, for I have redeemed you. I have called you by name. You are mine. Isaiah 43:1. In that moment, a holy alignment begins. You are not late. You are not forgotten. You are right on time for what heaven has already written. The sorrow you've carried, the waiting you've endured, the silence you thought meant absence, it was never empty. It was preparation for this. This is not about minutes ticking by. This is about eternity stepping in. Divine timing. The meeting place between what was promised and what is now being fulfilled. The weight you've been holding, the questions you've whispered through tears. Heaven heard them, everyone. And now the author of your story turns the page. So lean in. Let your soul listen, not just your ears. This is more than a moment. It's a divine invitation. If you sense this word was meant for you, if something deep inside you stirs, then declare your readiness. Type Amen in the comments below as a sign that you are stepping into alignment with the call on your life. And don't leave yet. Stay with us until the very end. We'll be closing with a prayer that may be the turning point your spirit has been waiting for. Heaven has spoken. Now it's your move. There are no coincidences in the realm of the divine. The fact that you are hearing this now is not random. It is sacred timing. Heaven's voice has cut through the noise of the world to reach you, specifically you. In the unseen realm, the Lord of hosts has orchestrated this moment, aligning events, rearranging pathways, and softening hearts to bring you to this very point. You have not stumbled here. You have been led. For what reason? Because the one who formed you in the secret place has not forgotten the ache you've carried, the tears shed in silence, the nights you felt invisible, the moments when your heart cried out, "Does anyone truly see me?" They did not vanish into nothing. They rose before the throne like incense, and heaven recorded every one. The Holy One who sees all things has answered not with thunder or spectacle, but with something far more personal. He has spoken your name, quietly, powerfully, intentionally. Before I formed you in the womb, I knew you. Before you were born, I set you apart. Jeremiah 1:5. And when God speaks a name, it is not simply to call attention, it is to release purpose, to unlock what has been held back, to summon forth miracles long in waiting. What once looked like delay is now revealed as preparation. What felt like abandonment is unveiled as the groundwork for divine encounter. Heaven does not measure moments as mortals do. Time is not the marker. Readiness is. And you, though weary, have been made ready by every step of the journey. The sorrow, the long waits, the invisible battles. They have forged something precious in you that heaven honors. Even now, the breath of God is moving through your life like wind across still waters, reviving, restoring, awakening. The same spirit that hovered over the deep in Genesis is hovering over you now, bringing order where there was chaos, light where there was confusion. And listen closely, this is not the beginning of a slow recovery. This is the beginning of divine restoration, the kind that reclaims years the locusts have eaten. Joel 2:25. The kind that rewrites stories, not with ink of shame, but with ink of promise. Some will wonder how everything changed so suddenly, but those who walk with God know, when He moves swiftly. Shall I bring to the moment of birth and not give delivery? Isaiah 66:9. The heavenly scroll bearing your name has been opened. It holds blessings, appointments, and divine encounters that cannot be delayed any longer. Doors that no man could open are swinging wide, not by force, but by divine favor. Those who once dismissed you will stand in awe, not of you, but of what God has done through you. Because when the Most High chooses to exalt, no one can oppose. Perhaps you've spent years shrinking, apologizing for your light, but the time for shrinking is over. You were not created to be overlooked. You were created to reflect the glory of the one who made you. And now the radiance of heaven is resting upon you, not because you've earned it, but because you were always meant for it. The grief you've carried, the betrayal that tried to define you, the losses that nearly crushed you, none of them are wasted. Each one is being transformed into living testimony. Like Joseph, who said, "You intended to harm me, but God intended it for good." Genesis 50:20. So shall it be with you. And in the courts of heaven there is rejoicing, because the time has come, not for more striving, but for receiving, not for more hiding, but for rising. You are not behind. You are not disqualified. You are not broken beyond repair. You are the one heaven is moving for right now. So let this truth settle deep in your spirit. God has called your name, and when He does, chains fall, paths clear. What was impossible becomes inevitable. You are stepping into a season not defined by your past, but by His promises. A season where peace replaces panic, where joy breaks through sorrow, and where your story becomes evidence that nothing is wasted in the hands of the eternal. This is not wishful thinking. This is the word of the Lord, spoken, sent, sealed. Heaven has moved, the atmosphere has shifted, and your life, by the mercy and power of the Most High, will never be the same. Out of all the souls on earth, the Almighty paused everything to speak your name in the courts of heaven, and with that whisper came more than comfort. It came with power, with purpose, with a divine command that what has been dormant in your life must now rise. This moment is not ordinary, it is a shift in the unseen realm. The story of your life has been laid before the throne, not as a record of pain, but as a canvas ready for the hand of the artist to paint something new. For seasons you walked through silence that felt louder than any storm. You prayed and waited, you asked, and it seemed no answer came. But heaven is not careless with time. Heaven listens long, and now heaven has responded. The voice of the Lord has torn through what felt like delay. The name you thought was forgotten has been spoken again, this time not with sorrow, but with redemption. Just as the Lord spoke to Hagar in the wilderness and called her by name when no one else saw her, Genesis 16:13, so too has He called you, saying, "I see you." And when God sees, He restores. The pain you buried, the disappointments you carried quietly, the dreams you packed away, each one was not lost, but planted, seeds in the dark. And today, something holy begins to bloom. The season of silence breaks into song. The ground that felt dry beneath your feet now pulses with divine promise. You may not have realized it, but heaven has been preparing this for longer than you've known. Angels were dispatched, not with spectacle, but with instruction, assignments, protection. Even now they are surrounding the details of your life, relationships, places, decisions not yet made. Think of Elijah in the cave, desperate and tired, thinking all was over. But God wasn't in the earthquake nor the fire. He was in the whisper. 1 Kings 19:12. The whisper that brought direction. And in the same way, His whisper to you today is not soft because it is small, but because it is sacred. There are people being positioned to bless you, people you've never met, appointments you haven't seen, opportunities you never imagined. And these aren't rewards, they are fulfillments of promises made in secret, of prayers you whispered so long ago, you nearly forgot them. Even your setbacks are being rewritten. Where others saw failure, God sees foundation. Where betrayal left you bruised, the oil of healing is being poured. I will restore to you the years that the swarming locust has eaten, he says, Joel 2:25, and he is faithful to do it. Do not dismiss what you feel stirring inside, that quiet trembling in your soul, the sudden weight lifting from your chest. It's not emotion, it's confirmation. It is the Spirit of God breathing into dry bones, saying, live. Ezekiel 37:5. Where shame tried to take root, honor is rising. Where fear gripped you, courage is awakening. Where the past tried to define you, a new name is being written, one that aligns with heaven's vision for your life. Do not wonder if you're worthy. Worthiness was never a requirement. Grace is, and grace is not scarce. It is relentless. It chases. It redeems. Just as Mephibosheth was carried to the king's table, broken and forgotten yet still welcomed, 2 Samuel 9, so you too are being brought to a place prepared not because of what you've done, but because of the covenant love God keeps, even when others forget. Right now, the hand of the Lord is turning the page of your story, and when he turns it, he doesn't erase what came before. He redeems it. He lifts what was meant to crush. He brings beauty where there was ruin. Morning is giving way to joy. The night is giving way to morning. You've reached a divine threshold, not one of your own making, but one written before time. You may have walked through fire, but you were not consumed. You may have passed through waters, but they did not drown you. Isaiah 43:2. You survived, not by chance, but because grace carried you. And now it's time to rise, not as someone trying to prove their worth, but as someone who has been called. Heaven did not call your name for comfort alone. It was a decree, a spiritual turning point, a sign that the wilderness season has ended and the rivers are beginning to flow again, not slowly, but suddenly, quietly, powerfully. There will be a day, sooner than you think, when you will look back and say, that was the moment everything began to change. Not because of luck, not because of anything you did, but because God spoke. He spoke your name, and that changes everything. Something sacred began the moment your name was whispered in heaven, not loudly, not with fanfare, but with a quiet authority that causes even angels to pause. When the Almighty speaks, creation listens, not because he shouts, but because his voice carries the weight of eternity. Perhaps you didn't feel anything at first, no lightning bolt, no dramatic sign, but make no mistake, when your name passed through the breath of God, something shifted around you. Not just externally, but deep within the folds of your life. Things began to move, chains began to loosen, invisible currents began flowing in your favor. For the voice of God does not always come wrapped in spectacle. Sometimes it arrives in the stillness of early morning, in the ache behind your ribs, in the unspoken knowing that change is near. The prophet Elijah learned this when God passed, not in the wind, nor the quake, nor the fire, but in a still small voice. 1 Kings 19:11-12. And that same voice, steady and true, just called you by name. In that moment, heaven became still, not with silence, but with expectation. A pause, not of absence, but of reverence. For when your name is spoken from the throne, it is not to recall the pain of your past, but to declare the beginning of something new. Your waiting has not gone unnoticed. Your tears have not gone uncounted. The psalmist said, "You keep track of all my sorrows. You have collected all my tears in your bottle." Psalm 56, verse 8. And indeed, they are not forgotten. They were not a sign of weakness. They were the watering of promises yet to bloom. Heaven remembers the nights you almost gave up, the mornings you rose weary, the prayers you could barely form into words. And even when you were surrounded by silence, heaven was not still. The orchestration of your story continued behind the veil, pieces being rearranged, people being shifted, timelines being aligned. You've felt it, haven't you? That quiet restlessness, that knowing in your spirit that something is coming, even if you can't explain it. That's not emotion, that's not imagination, that is spiritual preparation. The soil of your life has been turned, and now the seeds buried in hardship are breaking through. The same God who called Moses by name from a burning bush, Exodus 3:4, has now spoken yours, not to send you back into suffering, but to call you forward into fulfillment. You may have assumed certain doors were closed for good, but heaven has keys no man can see, and what was once locked is now being opened at the appointed time. And this is that time. There are promises you thought had faded with the years, relationships you counted as beyond repair, and dreams you buried under the rubble of disappointment. But God says, "Behold, I am doing a new thing. Now it springs up. Do you not perceive it?" Isaiah 43:19. Even now, angels are moving, not randomly, but with purpose. Some carry healing, others carry restoration. Some bring instructions for your next step. Others bring comfort for wounds you haven't dared to speak aloud. Each of them is moving in response to one holy act, the speaking of your name, not out of pity, not out of obligation, but out of covenant. Because your name is written in the book, not scribbled in haste, but carved in care, etched not just once, but again and again across the chapters of your life. And as that book lies open before the throne, the one who authored it declares, "It is time, time for beauty to rise from ashes, time for mourning to be exchanged for garments of praise." Isaiah 61:3. Time for favor to find you, not because of your striving, but because heaven has remembered what was promised. You are not late. You are not forgotten. You are not unworthy. You are exactly where heaven knew you would be, on the edge of breakthrough, standing at the place where divine timing meets unshakable grace. There is a holy stirring in the atmosphere, not chaos but alignment, not confusion but clarity. And as you stand in the in-between, know this: heaven has released the order. What was held back will now be released. What was once delayed is being accelerated, because the moment God spoke your name, everything began to change. Listen carefully, chosen one. In the unseen realm, something has shifted. A divine movement has been set into motion, not by the striving of human hands, but by the voice of the Most High. What was once delayed is no longer held back. What was lost is being pursued by restoration. What was locked is now being unlocked with keys formed in the fires of eternity. These keys do not fit earthly locks. They open doors only heaven could close, and only heaven can open. And what you feared had vanished forever is returning, not in fragments, but in fullness, dressed in greater glory than you ever imagined. There's a reason your spirit stirs as you hear this. Long before your mind can reason it, your soul responds to truth, that rising in your chest, the ache that is not sorrow but longing, that is recognition. Something in you knows that this is not just a word. It is a moment, a divine appointment, a fulfillment reaching out to meet its vessel. Even now, the Archangel of God stands watch, not as a symbol of judgment, but as a witness to promise, not with wrath, but with assurance. His sword, drawn not in threat but in protection, glows with the authority of heaven. For when God speaks a name, it does not float aimlessly. It carries weight, power, assignment. It demands response from the earth, the wind, the systems of time. And the name spoken was yours. Do not dismiss this. Do not fall back into the false belief that this word is for someone more deserving. Do not measure your worth by what others failed to see in you. For the Lord does not choose based on appearance, performance, or reputation. He He chooses from love. His gaze cuts through all masks, all wounds, all disqualifiers. He sees essence. He sees calling. For the Lord does not see as man sees. Man looks on the outward appearance, but the Lord looks on the heart. 1 Samuel 16:7. And he has looked upon you and seen something precious. There is a reason you survived what tried to take you out. There is a reason you are still standing after storms that shattered others. It is not because you were stronger. It is because you were preserved. Preserved for this hour, this release, this unfolding of purpose. God has shielded you even when you didn't know you were under threat. He has rerouted your path when your own choices nearly led you to ruin. He has carried you, not because you were always faithful, but because he was, and he still is. Your name has been spoken not with uncertainty, but with fire, not with hesitation, but with clarity. When heaven called for Abraham, it was not to remind him of what he lacked, but to establish covenant. When heaven called Samuel as a boy, it was not because he was ready, but because God was. And when heaven called the name of Mary, it was not to reward her status. It was to overshadow her with the impossible, that through her, the world would change. And so now, heaven has spoken your name, and something has been unleashed. You may not see it with natural eyes, but spiritual forces have been deployed, assignments released. Scrolls carrying your name are being read in heavenly places. Some contain healing of body, of mind, of old wounds that words alone could never reach. Some carry instructions, new steps, new strategies, new direction. Others contain reconciliation, divine arrangements of relationships that were broken, misunderstood, or left behind. And some scrolls carry resurrection, dreams once pronounced dead, but which heaven preserved in safekeeping. The enemy tried to convince you that it was over, that you had missed your moment, that the losses you suffered were proof that God had changed his mind about you. But the enemy is not a creator, he is a thief. And the word says, if the thief is caught, he must pay back sevenfold. Proverbs 6:31. What you lost is not gone, it is being multiplied. You will not receive back what was taken, you will receive what was redeemed. There are people who once dismissed you, not out of cruelty, but because they could not perceive what heaven saw. But when God opens a door, no man can shut it. And when God seals a calling, no voice, whether of others or your own inner doubt, can unseal it. See, I have placed before you an open door that no one can shut. Revelation 3:8. This door is not just an opportunity, it is a passage into everything that has been prepared for you since before time began. You've walked through nights that stretched endlessly, where prayers felt like echoes in empty rooms. You've tried to silence your hope so disappointment would not sting as deeply. You've called out into the silence asking, "Did God forget me?" And yet even in the darkest hour, he held you. Quietly, firmly, like the way a father holds a sleeping child, present, unwavering, even when unnoticed. And now the time has come. The bowls that collected your prayers, your tears, your longings, they are being poured out, not sparingly, not cautiously, but abundantly, in the measure of his mercy, which knows no end. God has spoken, and what he speaks cannot return empty. It is written, "So is my word that goes out from my mouth. It will not return to me empty, but will accomplish what I desire and achieve the purpose for which I sent it." Isaiah 55:11. You were not sent to this earth without purpose. And now the word spoken over your life is coming into manifestation. This isn't about status. This isn't about titles. This is about surrender, about saying yes. Yes to the shifting, yes to the releasing, yes to the restoration that you never imagined could be yours. God is not calling you to return to who you were before the pain. He is calling you to rise into someone the pain could never destroy. Even now, you are not alone. Angels encamp around you. Resources are being drawn to you. Divine appointments are being set. Provision is coming from places you never looked. Honor is replacing humiliation. Joy is returning to the dry wells of your soul. There are no coincidences in heaven, and there is no wasted pain in the hands of God. What looked like delay was preservation. What felt like loss was redirection. What seemed like silence was set up. And now, beloved, comes the unveiling, not of a version of your life you settled for, but the one that was always intended, the one heaven wrote, the one that carries your true name, the name only God could speak with such love, such authority, and such finality. Because when God speaks your name, everything obeys, and nothing remains the same. Beloved, consider how many times you walked away from moments wondering if anyone saw you. The positions that slipped through your fingers, the rooms where your name was never mentioned, the love you gave freely that was returned with silence. You may have called it rejection, failure, even abandonment, but heaven called it mercy. For not everything that was withheld was punishment. Some things were removed because they could not carry the weight of the glory coming your way. Those missed opportunities were too small for the purpose heaven wrote for you. The people who walked away were never meant to carry the oil you were destined to pour. The doors that shut without explanation were not denials. They were divine filters. And what you thought was delay was, in truth, design. Because the miracles attached to your name could not be rushed. They had to arrive in their appointed time, crafted with precision, aligned with every detail of your journey. You are now stepping into that time. The same God who chose David when no one in the room thought he qualified has chosen you. He called David from the fields, not because of appearance or status, but because of what only heaven could see, a heart after God's own. And in the same way, heaven has seen your unseen faithfulness, your silent endurance, your quiet loyalty to what was right, even when no one applauded. And God has spoken your name. When your name was whispered in heaven, the movement began. Not dramatic, perhaps, not lightning and thunder, but real, sure, and unstoppable. A release was triggered in the spirit, where angels took their positions, where the calendar of eternity flipped its page to your next chapter. The very air around you began to carry the scent of shift, though your senses were still adjusting to it. Even now, there are things happening on your behalf. Heavenly instructions being fulfilled. Promises that have been sealed for generations are being opened. Resources are being unlocked. Names are being spoken in rooms you haven't entered. And all of it carries your imprint, not because you demanded it, but because God ordained it. There is no coincidence in divine timing. Just as Esther was positioned for such a time as this, Esther 4:14, so too have you been preserved, not just for survival, but for revelation. Your story is not random. It is part of a greater unveiling. And now that unveiling begins. The sorrow you endured wasn't wasted. Each tear was a seed, each sigh a prayer, each disappointment a breaking of the ground for something deeper to grow. God saw the nights you turned your face to the wall and whispered, "Why not me?" He heard the prayers you didn't know how to speak, the ones that sat wordless in your chest. He saw and he remembered. And now the remembering is becoming reward. Scripture says in Malachi 3:16, "A book of remembrance was written before him for those who feared the Lord and esteemed his name." Your name is in that book, written not just once, but traced across many pages. For every time you chose forgiveness over revenge, for every time you worshipped while your heart broke, for every time you kept going when everything in you said stop. And now, beloved, comes the turning. The angels are not idle. Archangel Michael has taken his place, not to fight battles that you must fear, but to ensure that no plan of God for your life is intercepted. His sword guards your path. His presence marks the seriousness of this hour. Gabriel prepares to carry messages into your life, not just inspiration, but doors, announcements, alignments that carry the fragrance of destiny fulfilled. And behind the veil of the natural, other angels have taken their stations beside your home, your heart, your steps, moving in silence, guarding in strength. You may be sitting in a quiet room. You may feel ordinary, but the realm of heaven is anything but still. It is as if a curtain has been drawn back and a stage has been revealed. Your story, once hidden, is being illuminated. Heaven's script for your life is unfolding, word by word, act by act. And every line speaks restoration, not ruin. You are not forgotten. You were never a mistake. You were not disqualified by the pain you've endured. In fact, that pain became the very place where God's hand shaped you into one who could be trusted with more. Even the people who hurt you, those who dismissed your worth, overlooked your efforts, misjudged your heart, are now being removed with quiet finality, not in anger, but in love. For what is coming next requires space, and heaven is creating that space around you. In their place, God is sending new connections, people whose presence will feel like peace, whose loyalty will not need to be tested, whose words will match their actions. He is forming covenant relationships rooted in heaven's purpose. Friendships that will walk with you, not out of convenience, but out of calling. Those who drain you will be gently moved aside, and those who pour into you, who see the treasure in you, are already drawing near. And your home, even it is being touched. Heaven has marked its walls with protection. Rooms that once held sorrow will become sanctuaries. Atmospheres are shifting. What felt heavy is lifting. You will walk into spaces and feel the difference. Peace, like warm oil, will settle over your life and your heart. Dear bruised heart, God is tending to it. He is not brushing past the pain. He is sitting with it, mending it. He heals the brokenhearted and binds up their wounds. Psalm 147, verse 3. He is removing what was buried too long. Memories that once brought shame are being washed in mercy. Wounds that festered in silence are being touched with light. You will not carry this weight into your next season. Healing is coming like a river, steady, unstoppable, reaching the places even you forgot needed healing. And as you are restored, those connected to you will feel it. Your peace will overflow into their lives. Your joy will break chains for others. You will become not just a recipient, but a vessel and provision. It is already in motion, not as a reward for perfection, but as the return for every seed sown in faith. God saw every act of kindness, every unseen sacrifice, every time you gave from your lack to help another. And the word is clear: whoever sows generously will also reap generously. 2 Corinthians 9:6. You will not labor without harvest. Resources will find you, not because of striving, but because of alignment. Not as leftovers, but as overflow. This is not the season of scraping by. It is the season of abundance, not just for you, but through you. Others will eat from what God prepares at your table. You prepare a table before me in the presence of my enemies. Psalm 23:5. And no voice of opposition will silence what has already been spoken. Because, beloved, God has whispered your name, not as a passing thought, not as a distant echo, but as a decree, final and full of fire. And when God decrees, it stands forever. So though you feel the stirring and the shift, though you cannot yet name all that is changing, trust this: the whisper has gone forth, and nothing in your life will remain the same. Beloved, heaven has not merely whispered your name, it has declared it. Not in quiet corners or hushed tones, but in the radiant courts of the eternal, where light has no shadow and time bows before the will of God. When your name was spoken in that realm, it was not a sound, it was a decree, a shift, a release. And in that moment, everything changed. The cherubim paused. The seraphim silenced their endless cries of holy, 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 not from interruption but from reverence. For the King of Glory turned his gaze toward you, the one who names the galaxies, who tells the oceans where to stop, who carved the mountains with his breath, looked upon you and spoke. Do you know what that means? It means your name has not been lost in the noise of the world. It means your story has not been buried under the weight of forgotten dreams. It means your life, fragile as it sometimes feels, has been marked by the same hand that set eternity in motion. Can a mother forget the baby at her breast and have no compassion on the child she has borne? The Lord asked through the prophet Isaiah. Though she may forget, I will not forget you. See, I have engraved you on the palms of my hands. Isaiah 49:15-16. That engraving isn't metaphorical. It is eternal, and it is yours. What you thought was silence was never absence. It was strategy. Heaven does not rush what it is perfecting. What looked like a long delay was not a denial. It was alignment. Heaven waits until the soil of your life is ready to hold the weight of the promise. Not so it will crush you, but so it will carry you. That readiness is now. The divine clock has reached its appointed hour. And though the world may still look ordinary, the spiritual realm is ablaze with movement. The timing of God has collided with your surrender, and a window has opened that no one can close. You have waited long, not just with your body, but with your soul. You've endured seasons where the nights were loud with loneliness and the days were quiet with questions. You've asked for signs. You've begged for confirmation. You've wondered if God still knew your name. This is the answer. Not a coincidence, not a fleeting message. This is a divine encounter wrapped in language your soul recognizes before your mind can catch up. Even now, the Spirit of the Lord hovers over you as he did in the beginning when the earth was formless and void. In the darkness of confusion, he hovers. In the chaos of uncertainty, he hovers. Not distant, not passive, but poised, ready to speak again the words that bring life from what felt lifeless. Let there be, and beloved, there shall be. Let there be clarity where there was confusion. Let there be peace where there was unrest. Let there be healing where there was brokenness. Let there be restoration where there was loss. Let there be light. Right now, while others may not notice, while nothing around you seems different, the curtain has already lifted. The realm of spirit has moved, and soon the visible world will catch up with what has already been decreed in heaven. The unseen has spoken, and the seen must submit. Archangel Michael stands not just as a protector, but as a courier of your new beginning. His presence isn't a symbol of conflict, it is a declaration of divine protection. And in his hand is a scroll, sealed with the golden crest of God's authority. Upon that scroll is written the release of what once felt forever withheld. Healing long delayed, restoration long prayed for, joy long mourned. When God called your name, he didn't just summon angels, he dispatched miracles. Assignments were released, mantles were passed, garments of favor were tailored for you, not for who you were, but for who you are becoming. You will no longer walk in the garments of mourning. The ashes of yesterday are being swept away, and in their place, beauty is rising, quietly, steadily, undeniably. To all who mourn in Zion, he will give a crown of beauty instead of ashes, the oil of joy instead of mourning. Isaiah 61:3. And he is giving that now. You may have felt unseen, you may have carried shame, questioning if your journey mattered. But while you were wondering about your worth, God was preparing crowns of favor to place upon your head. While you were fearing the future, he was writing chapters of glory. While you were enduring private heartbreaks, he was commissioning angels to build the very platform where your redemption would shine. This is that platform. You are standing at the intersection where prophecy meets fulfillment, where prayer meets power, where pain meets purpose, not because of effort, not because of merit, but because heaven remembered you. The book in heaven that bears your name, yes, your name, is open. The ink of God's intention has already touched the pages. The angels read and they marvel, not at your suffering, but at what is about to rise from it. For heaven has never viewed your life as ordinary. It has always seen it through the lens of eternity. The mantle coming upon you is not borrowed. It was made for you. The oil being poured is not recycled. It is fresh. The door opening before you is not second-hand. It was carved with your fingerprint in mind. You may still see lack, you may still feel the residue of rejection, but hear this, shame is being lifted. In its place comes honor. You will not be known by what you lost, but by what you carried through the fire. And the fire did not burn you, it refined you. God is calling you out of survival into significance, out of hiding into harvest, out of silence into song. Those who sow in tears will reap with shouts of joy. Psalm 126 verse 5. Your tears were not weakness, they were investment, and heaven never forgets a seed sown in pain. The time has come for the harvest to rise, not slowly, but suddenly. The Spirit of God is resting on you, not momentarily, but with purpose. You are not just being visited, you are being filled. A new wind is coming to your lungs. A new strength is rising in your bones. The dry places in your soul are receiving rain. Even the relationships in your life are shifting. Those who drained you are being moved with grace. Those who see you, value you, carry heaven's honor for you. They are being positioned, not just companions, but covenant people. And your home? Heaven has marked it. The atmosphere is shifting, not with noise, but with peace. What once held sorrow will echo with laughter. What once was burdened will be blanketed in rest. The angel of the Lord encamps around those who fear him, and he delivers them. Psalm 34:7. And he is encamping with you now. This is your crossing point, the edge of what was and the beginning of what will be. This is not a countdown to an ending. It is the sounding of a trumpet no one else may hear, but your spirit does. And that trumpet declares, rise. The name heaven called is yours. And heaven never calls without completing what it begins. And now, beloved, as this divine word settles into your spirit, let it not remain a momentary comfort, but become the foundation of a renewed way of living. For when heaven speaks your name, it is not only to awaken hope, it is to call you into action. The time has come to walk differently, to think differently, to rise each day knowing that your life is no longer governed by fear, by delay, or by what was lost, but by what heaven has released. Begin by returning to the quiet, not the quiet of isolation, but the sacred quiet where you hear God more clearly. Make space in your daily routine to be still, not to plead, but to listen. Even if it's 5 minutes before the day begins, or a few deep breaths before you sleep, invite the Spirit to remind you of your name as heaven speaks it. Chosen, redeemed, loved. Let your choices reflect that identity. If you know heaven has already declared your worth, then start making decisions from that place. Decisions that align with peace, not panic, with clarity, not confusion. Speak with kindness, not just to others, but to yourself. Set boundaries that honor your soul. Forgive where you've been holding resentment, not to excuse harm, but to release your spirit into freedom. Let gratitude become your language. Even in simple things, your breath, your shelter, your daily bread. See the fingerprints of God. Gratitude turns the ordinary into evidence that heaven is near. And when you stumble, as all do, return quickly, not in shame, but in surrender. Remember, your story is not built on perfection, but on divine perseverance. Your life is a scroll still unfolding, and heaven writes in grace. Pay attention to divine appointments. That conversation you didn't plan, that opportunity that finds you instead of the other way around, that quiet prompting to reach out or hold back. These are not coincidences. When heaven calls your name, the physical world begins to echo with signs of alignment. Trust them. Walk through the doors that open, even if they scare you. Rest when you're told, even if the world urges you to push harder. And never underestimate the power of small obedience. Often, it is in doing the unseen things, showing up when it's hard, choosing truth over ease, praying when it feels pointless, that the greatest miracles are born. Let your life be a vessel. Everything you receive is not just for you. As restoration flows in, let it flow out. Let your healing bring healing to others. Speak words that lift. Give where you're able. Encourage those who walk in darkness, because you now know what it is to be called into light. Be the evidence that heaven still speaks. Be the living proof that nothing is wasted and nothing is over when God is in the story. And above all, remain expectant, not anxious, not desperate, but deeply rooted in the knowing that heaven finishes what it starts. When your name was spoken, it was not the beginning of hope alone, but the beginning of fulfillment. So carry yourself with quiet boldness. Pray with renewed fire. Dream again with holy courage, and live each day as one who has been called by name in the courts of the eternal. Beloved one, as you've received this word from the heart of heaven, now let us draw near in sacred stillness. This is not just the end of a message, it is the beginning of communion. Let us enter into prayer, not as a ritual, but as a holy conversation between your spirit and the one who called your name. Holy and eternal Father, the one who spoke light into darkness, who carved the seas with his hands and formed our souls before the foundation of the world, we come before you now in reverence and awe. Thank you for calling us by name, not with the voice of man, but with the voice of majesty. Thank you for seeing us when we felt invisible, for loving us when we were unsure of our worth, for preserving us when we thought we had been forgotten. Abba, we stand at the threshold of something new, not because of our strength, not because of our striving, but because you have declared, it is time. You have whispered our name in heaven, and all creation has responded. We sense the shift, Lord. Even when we cannot explain it, even when nothing around us looks different yet, our spirit testifies that everything is changing. So today we come not just to listen, but to surrender. We lay at your feet every burden that weighed down our hearts, the disappointments, the losses, the delays we didn't understand. We give you the fear that kept us small, the shame that kept us silent, the regret that told us we were disqualified. In return, we receive what you have prepared: healing instead of hurt, beauty instead of ashes, joy instead of mourning. Lord, restore what was broken in us, not with temporary comfort, but with eternal transformation. Heal the wounds we never had words for, touch the memories that linger in our minds, and speak peace over the places we still tremble. Wash us in mercy until every scar becomes a testimony of grace. God of covenant, we receive the restoration you promised. The years that the locusts ate, we claim them back, not only returned, but multiplied. Let our lives declare what your word has always spoken, that nothing is wasted in your hands, that the story is not over, that redemption is not only possible, it is promised. For every soul praying now, Lord, I ask for fresh wind, fresh strength, fresh purpose. Let there be a lifting, let there be a rising, let there be clarity where confusion once ruled. Let there be fire again in places that once burned out. Let dry bones hear your voice and live again. Father, thank you for the unseen battles you fought on our behalf, for the doors you shut that we cried over but were never meant to walk through, for the relationships you removed that could not go where you are taking us. We choose to trust you, not just with what we understand, but with what we don't. We give you our timeline, our expectations, our unanswered questions, and we say with trembling faith, your will is better, your timing is perfect, your ways are higher. Now, Lord, we ask you to anoint our steps, order our days, send divine appointments, open divine doors, establish divine friendships. Let our homes become sanctuaries of peace. Let the atmosphere around us shift to match what heaven has already declared. Let angels encamp around our families, our dreams, our decisions. Let your spirit hover over every area of our lives, just as you hovered over the waters in the beginning. Let your word be our anchor. Let your presence be our portion. Let your name be lifted through us, not for our glory, but for yours alone. Make us vessels, Lord, not just receivers of blessing, but carriers of hope. Let others find healing through our healing. Let others find light because we chose to shine. And Father, for those who feel weak, too broken, too behind, too weary, wrap them in your arms right now. Whisper to their soul, you are not forgotten, you are not late, you are not lost, you are mine. Speak purpose where there has been wandering. Speak love where there has been rejection. Speak identity where there has been confusion. Speak peace, Jesus. Speak life. We believe, Lord, not because we see all things clearly, but because we trust the one who does. You are faithful, you are near, you are good. And we say yes to whatever you have spoken over our name. So now let it be done. In the name of the Father who formed us, the Son who redeemed us, and the Spirit who empowers us. Amen. Thank you for sharing this sacred space with us today. If this prayer resonated with your soul, if something in you stirred as heaven's word washed over you, we invite you to respond. Leave a comment below and declare, I receive what heaven has spoken over my name. Let your words be your alignment. Let your faith be your yes. And if you haven't already, subscribe to this channel so you never miss a moment when heaven may speak again. Until next time, may grace cover you, may peace go before you, and may you walk boldly in the calling that was written for you before the world began.